Hey everyone, I'm sure you're pretty sick of me so far. I just wanted to make up another video. I created another coil of copper. Well, I didn't create it. I picked up at the store, wrapped around the pipe, and now I'm going to solder the two pieces of copper together. This was my original piece of copper that we showed in the first video. It still has the compression fitting on it. Now here is a new bunch of copper. I'm going to attach that to the chimney as well. We're going to use a little copper coupling here. Let's see if we can get it back in the light here a little bit. And what that's going to do is it's going to make a better connection than the compression fittings. So I've got solder, I've got flux, I've got a torch. I'm going to clean it up, and then we're going to give it some. Hold on. All right, we're back. So here's the deal. I'm going to try to get this line up so you can see it well. The biggest thing with soldering two copper joints together is to start off by getting them as clean as possible. So I've cleaned those up. I've scrubbed them up with the little metal brush. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put a little bit of flux on the copper joints and inside the coupling. This flux is supposed to be really, really bad for your skin. So I'm just going to use a little bit on each piece of copper, which is probably too much because I don't do this very much. I saw a guy online doing this and he used a popsicle stick and just put very, very, very little on there. I'm going to use a little bit more than he did. I don't know what I'm doing. Eventually I get there, but it won't be today. So I just wanted to make sure I got plenty on here. And try to get some inside the coupling. I'll do that off camera. If I have to find a little bit smaller brush. So I've got the flux in the coupling. It's not much, but I think it's more than I need. So now I'm going to just press the two fittings together. There's a guy at Home Depot who's been helping me with my plumbing. He's in Portsmouth. He's a master plumber of sorts. And one thing that he did mention to me was that once I get this fitting pushed together real tight, I want to take a pair of pliers and just give it a slight squeeze. Not too much to move it, just enough so it won't come undone while I'm heating it up. You could just barely feel it go a little bit. Perfect. All right, now let's get the torch out and we'll attempt to solder this. So one of the things I'm trying to work out with this is once it's soldered, I don't want to have to move this joint. If I have it too far apart and try to push it together, that solder joint's going to want to twist and it's going to break the connection. I'm just trying to figure out how I want to do it. I think when I put it on the stovepipe, it's going to be tight like this. And I think it'll be very, very little movement because I'm going to put it on. I got some hose clamps. I'm going to attach it to the chimney pipe with to keep everything nice and tight. So with that being said, I'm about ready to set up the torch. Well, I have bad news for you. I got all set up to film it. I soldered it, and I looked down, and I wasn't filming any. I think this solder went pretty well. It's a little bit messy. I wasn't able to wipe here on the inside. Because what I understand, when you solder, after the solder's melted and it feeds into the joint, give it a second to set and then wipe it off so you get a nice clean joint. I got a little bit of drippage, but I was a little premature on the soldering, and now you missed it. But the connection seems to be good. We'll have to check it over a fire. I don't see any spots where I missed solder. I'm no means by an expert, but when I was feeding the solder in, it wasn't clumping. It touched in and went right into where the flux where it's supposed to be. You know, if you want to control the flux, sometimes you need a flux capacitor, but apparently I was all set this time. So I added about another 18 feet or so. I'm keeping a piece of copper to feed off of the valve. Oh, where's my valve? My valve's going to connect. Oh, let's move you here a little bit. my valve's going to connect back down to here. But it's not long enough. This piece of copper coming out is not long enough to do everything we need. So before I soldered that piece on, I cut another piece of copper here. That piece of copper now is going to go out and it's going to go feed the top pan, and I can just trim it if I need to change the length of it. I'll have to use a compression fitting off the valve though, to give me the length I need and to connect everything all together. That's it for tonight. Like I said, it's not the best soldering joint I've ever seen, but the solder seemed to fill well. I don't see any gaps. We'll have to get it hot, fill it full of sap to find out if I did a good job or not. All right, catch you later.